And the sheet of the Ramban, that the Ramban says, nation of seeking. He starts off with questions that in Hallel and in Kriya Shema we're mafsik, and after we came, we don't say it over again. So it's simon that the hafsaka doesn't matter. You can still make a bracha. Then he brings from Kriyas HaTorah and from Kriyas Demiyusha to Kriyas Demiyumah. So we said yesterday there's two things. That Ramban is Oisib Avir in two things. The first two rise that he brings from Hallel and Kriya Shema is that hefsek is not mafsik the chefts of the mitzvah. That even though I was mafsik in the middle of Kriya Shema, I was mafsik in the middle of Hallel, it's still a chefts of Hallel, and that's why I don't have to make the bracha again, and I don't have to start from the beginning again. The second thing is the rise that he brings from Kriyas HaTorah, from Kriyas Demiyusha, from Kriyas Demiyumah, is that sometimes, because Seder Shel Sidur Shel Yom in the Lashon of the Ramban, that's the Seder the Chachamim wanted, so the Chatchila they were mesakin with the hefsek. So, and they could be mesakin with the hefsek because of the first two rise that hefsek is not mafsik the cheftes mitzvah. So, and since the hefsek is not mafsik the cheftes mitzvah, so when Chazal saw a necessity to make a certain Seder, so they made that Seder, even though there's a hefsek, it doesn't matter. So a clear riot to this Mahalach in the Ramban, is because Rabbeinu David in Psochim, Kuf Yud Zayin, he speaks over there also about making a brocha on Hallel. So he says that when Chazal wanted a certain Seder, Sidur Shel Yom, so therefore they were mesakin it with the hefsek. So also over here, Hallel, they were mesakin when he brings down this sheet, they were mesakin that he only brings the two rayas from Kriyas Demiyusha, Kriyas Demiyumah, and from Kriyas HaTorah. So you see that these are the four rayas that the Ramban brings are separated. And so therefore, like we spoke yesterday, what the Brisker wants to say, that the hefsek is a simon, that this is not Hallel of Kriya, but it's a Hallel of Shira. And then the Hallel of Shira, the whole Hallel is not Akif, and that's why you can split it up. It's a simon. And therefore, the kasha that the Ramban asked on Reb Semach Goyin and the Goyinim, that the hefsek, that he learns that hefsek is a sibah, and that's why he asked his questions. And Briskerov wants to answer that no, hefsek is only a simon and not a sibah. It's only a simon that this is not a Hallel of Kriya, it's a Hallel of Shira. According to the way we explained the Ramban, so it doesn't make a difference whether it's a Hallel of whether you want to learn that hefsek is a sibah or hefsek is a simon, because since the first two rayas that Ramban brings is that hefsek is not mafsik the chefts of the mitzvah, so just like it's not a chisoron in Hallel the Kriya, so it's also not a simon that this is a Hallel of Shira. Just like it's not a sibah, why I don't make a bracha. Just like it's not a sibah, why I don't make a bracha. It also is not a simon that this is not a Hallel the Kriya, because we're saying the first two rayas the Ramban brings is mitzad etzim chefts of the mitzvah. The hefsek is not mafsik, doesn't destroy the chefts of the mitzvah. But even though I was mafsik, the only question that remains is that Einoch Inami is not mafsik the chefts of the mitzvah, but still, like the Rekeach time is that the Chatchila to go ahead and be mesakin with a hefsek, a bracha, when I'm going to be mafsik, we're not mesakin. So on that, the Rambam brings the other two rayas. This we spoke yesterday. That sometimes Chazal had, because of Kaimim Shalahem, they wanted to make dafka the hefsek, Kriyas the Meyusha, Kriyas the Meyumah, and Kriyas HaTorah resign Gavi. Okay. That was the beer in the Ramban. So we explained. So we explained that that's why the Rebbe in the Hagodah tzeichel su first the kolboy, and then the Rekeach, because the Ramban is arguing on this whole thing. What does the kolboy say? That the reason why we don't make a bracha on the al kaifif yishem usakin. So we said, according to the sheet of the Ramban, with the email, there's some Rishonim that learn like him. So he's going to argue on this reason. according to the way we explained, the Ramban is also not a steer to this reason, because the difference between Hallel and the difference between Hallel and Dalet Kaisis is that Dalet Kaisis, the Zia Kaloshon of the Kolba is Mufsakim. The Dalet Kaisis, each Kais has to be a Kais Miyuchat for itself. So in other words, when I don't have Dalet Kaisis in front of me. When I'm Oisik in Kais Aleph, I have to be Oisik only in Kais Aleph. And therefore, at the time that I'm drinking Kais Aleph, I can't make a bracha Lishteis Dalet Kaisis, because right now I'm dealing only with Kais Aleph. Kais Beis comes separate, and there has to be there has to be this hefsek. The mitzvah of Dalet Kaisis is Dalet Kaisis Mufsakim. It's at the etzem chefze. And then even the Ramban will agree that over here I can't make a bracha because I don't have Dalet Kaisis. When can I make a bracha according to the sheet of the Ramban? When the mitzvah b'chtzat chefzosa is one big mitzvah. Except for some reason we are mafsik. The gavra is mafsik. That hefsek of the gavra is not mafsik the mitzvah. So then I could make a bracha. That's even according to the sheet of Ramban. And that's why the Rebbe Tzeichen Su, the Kolboy first, because according to the Kolboy, I have a reason for Dalet Kaisis. The Dafka by Dalet Kaisis, I can't make a bracha because I'm Musakin. It's Tzeichen Su, the Rekeach, that he also goes along with a similar shita, but it's not the same shita. By the Rekeach, he puts together Dalet Kaisis with Halal. And if I put together Dalet Kaisis with Halal, and he goes with the shita, that wherever there's a hefsek, that Chazal, the Chatchila, were not Musakin a bracha, and hefsek helps only with the evet, but Chatchila, when I'm do the mitzvah with hefsek, Chazal were Musakin a bracha. So he puts Dalet Kaisis together with Halal. He doesn't say this Nakuda. So the Itzeichen Su that the Rekeach, that he also says the same halacha, the same psak, that you don't make a bracha. But the shita of the Rekeach is not the same shita, is not the same hezber as the shita of the Kolber. This we spoke yesterday. This we spoke yesterday about the Haggadah. Now let's go again in the Hagodah. By Halal. That the Rebbe brings by Halal, ein bewochen Halal zeh, Reb Semach Goyen, zatzal pirush v'fi shemafsikin boy besuda. Rav Hai Goyen zatzal pirush she'ein elek ukei b'teir. So from this lashon of the Ezra Ruah is mashma that the void by Halal is not like the Briskerov wants to learn that both reasons are combined, and like it's mashma pashas in the Mordechai and the pashas in the lashon of the Ram, and that's in other places. And mashma is not over here. Over here, he clearly separates it as two separate shittas. From Rav Hai Goy, like we already said, it's not a steer to this image that we don't make a bracha, because Rav Hai Goy said the emes, he's talking a little bit of emes, that even if I would hold that by Dalet Kaisis I can make a bracha, over here by Halal, I don't need this reason. I don't need the reason of mafsikin, because it's not Halal. Now, according to Reb Semach Goyen, the Halal that we say in Leil Pesach is Halal. It is a Kriyas Halal. But since we're mafsik in the Kriyas Halal, so therefore we don't make a bracha, which that's similar to Dalet Kaisis. According to the Rekeach, it's mamish like Dalet Kaisis that we don't make a bracha. But according to Rav Hai Goyen, it's not a steer to Dalet Kaisis. He's saying by Halal it's even more. It's not Kriyas Halal. Therefore we can't make a bracha Kriyas Halal. It's only Kekayr B'Teir. That's that it brings. Now, L'Laila Zeh, the Rebbe goes on. L'Laila Zeh Koyna Say Afilu Meyushev Alpi Shemitzas Kli Ose Mekumet Fisha Kol Ma'is L'Laila Zeh Hu Derech Chelus. Okay, even though the Kriyas Halal has to be Mekumet, Belayla is there. We read it even with Yoshev. You call Ma'aseh Zeh derech chayus. And on that he'd say Chansu Shulchan Aruch Admor Zokin Simen Tov Ayin Gimel Simen Sif Mem Zayin Mem Ches. In Sif Mem Zayin, the Alter Rebbe writes, Ein Mevochen al Hal Shekoyim B'Layla Zeh. If you Shekoyim say Ein Koyim say B'Pam Achas because we don't read it in one time. Koyim Mitzos L'Fnei Asudeh Mitzos L'Acha Bichas Hamot. The Chur, this Sif has nothing to do with the next Keta. This has to do with the first Keta. That the Alter Rebbe seems to be passing like a Tzemach Goyim. And all those that hold like his Shita. It has nothing to do with whether we stand or sit. Sif Mem Ches is take this halacha. After she creates a halu ma'omet, question by Simon Tov Chof. The call makom halu shebelayla zeh koyin say afilu meyushev. She should call Ma'aseh Layla Zeh who derech chayus. This light, the halu this night we read it even sitting because everything that we do in this night is derech chayus. The fichoch ein matrichen eisei lamed. Therefore, we're not matrichen to stand. That's so. The why does the Rebbe say Chansu Sif Mem Zayin? So according to the way we're saying that, according to Rav Hai Goyen, Ein Ela K'Koyer B'Teiro, and therefore you don't make a bracha. That according to Rav Hai Goyen, it's not a kriyas halal. It's not a mitzvah of kriyas halal. It's only K'Koyer B'Teiro. So I don't need the whole Sif Mem Ches. When the Alter Rebbe says in Sif Mem Ches that even though the mitzvah of halal is Likroy Isim Umet, so vice the that kriyas halal, that tonight we are reading halal and there's a mitzvah of kriyas halal. It's a mitzvah of kriyas halal. According to Rav Tzemach Goyen, I don't need that reason. According to Rav Tzemach Goyen, and the Alter Rebbe, excuse me, the Alter Rebbe asked the question, mitzvah of kriyas halal is mu'umed. B'layla zeh, since kol ma'isa layla zeh is derech chayus, therefore ein matrichen eisoi lamed. I have to come on to this reason, ein matrichen eisoi lamed, because kol ma'isa zeh is derech chayus. I have is only if tonight, if by the Haggadah I'm reading halal as the mitzvah of kriyas halal. So according to based by according to Tzemach Goyim that he says that the reason we don't make a bracha is because we split the halal. And according to the way the Rekeach says, so it's understood. But according to the way of Hai Goyim says, ein ela k'koyer b'teiro. So therefore, I don't need this reason. The question is not a question. Why do we say it Merusha? Because we're not saying it's not the mitzvah of kriyas halal tonight. So that's why the Rebbe Tzeichen Su Sif Mem Zayin Sif Mem Ches, that the reason why the Alter Rebbe says the reason is because Kol Ma'isa Layla Derech Chayus, because in Sif Mem Zayin he taka only brings down Rav Tzemach Goyen. He doesn't bring down Rav Hai Goyen, and he learns that tonight when reading the Halal B'Leil Pesach, it is a mitzvah of kriyas halal. That's point one. But however, if we take a look in the Makor of the Halacha, it's brought down in the Beis Yosef and Tov Chov Beis, and the Makor is a Shebola Haleket, that the mitzvah of Halal is Ba'amida. In the Shebola Haleket, in Sin Kuf Ein Gimel, he writes like this. V'chein en koyin is a halal. V'heir Meir Rav Meir. The mitzvah is halal kriyasa me'umet. The mitzvah of halal, you have to read dafka standing. V'tam kosev ochi Rabbi Yomin. And the reason why you have to say dafka standing, al shem hakosev halal avdei Hashem she'en l'reis Hashem. Kleimer halal es Hashem v'amidah. Because the pasuk says, "Halu avdei Hashem she'ein d'meveis Hashem," Now, let's read the Hallel standing. If he should Hallel, why? If he should Hallel Eidus, Shvocha Shalamokim, because Hallel is an Eidus of the praises of the Eibishter, when it's of Benisa also Lona and the Niflois, or Mitzvahs Eidus Ba'amida. And since we're saying Eidus of the Niflois and the Nisim of the Eibishter, so therefore it has to be Dafka Ba'amida. Shnema v'om d'shnei anoshim u'be'edim ha'kosim medav. It says v'om d'shnei anoshim, and when you're saying Eidus, you have to stand. And then he adds, v'chein ha'yakoyim ha'yisei ba'azorah ashkitas ha'psochim ba'amida. And they used to read it also in the Azorah when they shechted the Korban Pesach. And over there, for sure, they read it ba'amida, sh'ai en yeshiva ba'azorah, because you're not allowed to sit in the Azorah. And so he's seeming to say two reasons. One reason is because Hallel is an Eidus, Anisim and Nifloish also don't have to. And secondly, because Hallel, they used to read it by Azor, by the Shchitas HaPesach, and over there they were standing. In the Mishnah Berurah, there's an afkamina between the two reasons, whether you can make smichet during Hallel, whether you can lean on something. If the reason is because in the Azor they used to stand, so then in the Azor there is no Isra of smichet. All is sitting there, because the whole dinner of the meat of Azor is because of COVID for the base of Mikdash. But if the reason is because of Eidus, by Eidus there's an Isser of Smicha. Therefore, you have to stand completely. They can't be Seimach. You have to stand completely. And Umasha Koyin, I say, then after he says this, Umasha Koyin, I say, B'leil Psochim, B'yeshiva, B'teich Shechok, and I say, Shen Koyin, I say, Kula Ka'achas, Ein Matrichin, I say, Lambert. Either because we are mafsik in this Hallel, so therefore we're not matriach to stand. And then he says another reason, because he has to have the kois biyodai, Shem Kitov Daitim, Matriach Sudosim, Yipra kois biyodai. So therefore, when you read Hallel in the basic Knesset, you have to read it standing. And since you already said Hallel standing, so you tricha to the so the Lashon in the Alter Rebbe is mamish like the Shebola Leket's Lashon, not like the Chok Yaakov. The Chok Yaakov seems to say there's a chiyuv of dafke b'yeshiva. That's why even those that stand the whole year by Havdalah, but B'leil Pesach you have to sit by Havdalah. It makes it a chiyuv because Kol Ma'aseh Laila zeh derech chiyuvs. The Lashon in the Alter Rebbe is a matrichin oisei lam. That they do not matriach him to stand because you're sitting already. But if you want to say it standing, you can say it standing. And this is not the Lashon in the Shebola Leket. A matriach oisei lam. Okay, that's a side issue. Another place we'll speak about. Maybe I don't know if we have time. Al Kaponim. What are the two reasons that the Shebola Leket says that we have to stand by Hallel? One reason is because it's Eidus al Nisim Niflois Shalakadish Bo. The Eidus you have to stand. The second reason is because Hallel was said by Shchitas HaPesach, and over there you have to say it standing because Ein Yeshiva Ba'azor. According to both reasons, l'chur there's no nafkamina whether you're saying Hallel b'teres Shira or you're saying Hallel b'teres Kriya. Let's go with the word of the Briskuro. What? Because what are the reasons? I'm saying Eidus am nifnisim and niflois shalakadish bo. And the Hallel of Shchitas HaPesach that was standing, that was a Hallel of Shira, not a Hallel of Kriya. Because we said our Shchitas HaPesach, that's a Hallel of Shira. So the Chura, according to the two reasons of the Shebola Leket, there's no nafkamina whatsoever, whether it's Hallel of Kriya or Hallel of Shira. You would have to stand by either Hallel. Since you're saying Hallel, you're saying Eidus, Anisim and Niflois Shalakadish Baruch Hu, or you're saying praises, you're saying a Shira, a song for that. So the Chura, there's no nafkamina. And Hallel of Shchitas HaPesach was also Hallel, that was there is Shira. So the Chura, so the whole thing that we said, why does it say to stiff men Zayin, is because according to Haggadah, it doesn't have a din of Kriyas Hallel, so therefore there wouldn't be a question of why are we sitting. And that's why it's stiff men Zayin to tell you that there is a question and have to come on after to the reason of because how the Laila Zeh is because Kol Maisa Laila Zeh is B'derech Chelus. That I have to come on to that reason. So according to the reason that you have to stand behold, the way it says in Shmuel Aleka, this is not true. So therefore, whether I learn like a Haggadah or I learn like a Semach, it doesn't make a difference because according to the Hezbollah of the Brisker. So the Briskerov learned Pshat in a Haggadah, and that's the Lashon Taka in the Ranim Psachim. The Ein Omer B'Teres Kriyas Halal, B'Teres Koyin, Ela B'Teres Shira. The passive Lashon of the Ram is mashma clearly like the Hasbora of the Briskerov. That he says it's two dinim in Halal, in Kriya, in Shira, and on Shira there is no bracha. However, let's take a look. What's the Lashon that the Mordechai quotes? The Lashon that the Mordechai quotes is not like the Lashon that the Ran says. The Mordechai Lashon is The Lashon of the Mordechai is Kekoyer Be'alma. The Lashon of the Erzerua that the Rebbe quotes in the Hagodah, is She'eino Elo Kekoyer B'Teiro. So in the Mordechai, the Lashon is Kekoyer Be'alma, She'eino Elo Kekoyer B'Teiro. The Lashon of the Ran is B'Teres Shir. If it's taka din halal of Amir Shir, like the sheet of the Bahag that the Briskerov brings, that there's a halal B'Teres Shira, when the nest happens to Kol Yisrael, so you have to say halal B'Teres Shira, separate chiyuv, besides the Yud Ches Yomim when it's halal B'Teres Shira. What's the Lashon Koyer B'Teiro? What's the Lashon Koyer B'Alma? What kind of Lashon? Say it like the Ran, B'Teres Shira. So from the Lashon of the Erzerua and the Lashon of the Mordechai is clearly mashma. It's clearly mashma that it's not a din of Amir's Halal at all. Not B'Teres Kriya, not B'Teres Shira. What is it? Let's take a look in the Rishonos of the Rishonim.
Why not Teres Kriya?
What?
Why can't we say it's Teres Kriya according to the Mordechai?
Koyer B'Alma. He says, it's not saying halal. Let's take a look at the Lashon of the Rishonim. In the Rabbeinu David, the Psachim, he says, Kriyas halal seder hakoyses leimer shlihidu hakoyses hibot leimer aleim shir ve'ena tumet roch. So over here also used the Lashon shir, but he says the halal is said, so we should be saying a shir on the koyses. A shir on the koyses. In the halachas of the Ritva, in the hilchas of Ritva, on the hilchas seder Hagodah of the Ritva, the Lashon is that's Kederach Shir. The halal that we say is Kederach Shir. Shetikna kol kois inyan b'fnei atzim k'vi mashuhu. Al kois echad rei l'sad kiddush. Al kois bei seder Hagodah l'sapu v'tzias mitzrayim v'shvachalo v'lachzim v'brocho v'al gimel birchas hamazon So so he's saying, so the Ritva in the Hilchas Seder Hagodah, he says also, it's a din of Shir ala Kois. That's the din of the Hal that we're saying. Let's take a Lashon. It's even the strongest Lashon is in the Ritva, which is printed in the Masechet Sukkah. Vade Halal b'Hagodah eina nema b'derech chiyuv Halal, el b'derech zemer. We don't say b'derech chiyuv Halal, we say b'derech zemer. V'chein b'richas haluchas eimer brochas hashvach b'fnei atzmo l'ficha karu b'richas hashir, and like he brings back in the Hilchas Ritva on the Seder Hagodah, because there's a day in the Gemara that what is the b'richas hashir? Nishmas. So we're not talking about brachas of Halal at all. We're talking about Birchas Hashir. We're talking about Birchas Hashvach. These are the how that we're saying is that since the second case, the Lashon of the don't have it over here. One of the Rishonim, the Lashon is. The Haggadah is only a sipur dvorim. It's not a shira. So therefore, in order to say a shir on the second case, so we put halal over there. So that's the lashon also the Mordechai and the Oizerua. K'koyer b'teira, k'koyer b'alma legabe. There's no mitzvah of halal over there. Not like the mitzvah of that's a mitzvah of halal, but halal b'teira shira. It's not a mitzvah of halal at all. We have to. The whole Haggadah is a sipur dvorim, and it's not. And I'm shir el ala kois. So therefore, the Masakin halal as a shir ala kois. That I should say a shir ala kois, ala yain on the kois by the second kois. Because since we're drinking a kois, we should say a shir ala kois. And that's the lashon of the word. And the lashon of the Ritva in Sukkah is in el zemer ba'alma. It's only b'torah zemer. That's the type of koyer b'torah, koyer ba'alma. It's not halal at all. Not like the Biskarov. And that's clearly muchach in the lashon of the Alter Rebbe, in both sifim, Simon Zayin and Simon Ches. And koyvin ala hal shekoyv b'layla hazeh. Now it's a regular halal, but we read it behefsek, like the Tzemach Kohen says. Avi shekriyas halal himu umed lashon kriyas halal. You know, so he's clearly the Alter Rebbe is clearly passing like of Hagodah. And verkehrt. Not like a fact, like a tzemach goy. No, he's clearly paskening that it's like a tzemach goy, that the only reason why we don't say the bracha is because mafsikin. That's a tzemach goy. Like that day. Like the Ramban quotes it.
I thought you wanted to be madgish the word shekoyim belayla and kriyasal.
No, verkehrt. Allah ein mevorchen ala halal. Halal is a halal. It is a halal. He compares it to a halal. And so it won't make a difference whether halal b'torah is kairin, the halal b'torah is shira. It is halal tonight. And it passed clearly because when Rav Hai Goyin says, according to the lashon of the Mordechai, or the lashon of the in the Oizerua, what they're saying is it's not an amiris halal. It's not a cheft. It's not saying it as a cheft of halal. Not b'teres kriya, not b'teres shir. And that lashon, and fakir, the lashon that the Ran uses, el b'teres shir, could be. It doesn't mean halal b'teres shir. That could be taken the Bahagis mashma. There's a din of halal b'teres shir. Not only b'teres karin, there is tak a shita. They want to say there's not a halal at all. It's only a shira ala kois. That's this halal. That's all it is. And that's why the Rebbe said in Sud after the Sif Mem Zayin and Sif Mem Ches and Fakir. So you see that the Rebbe is learning that in the Pshatim of Hagodah, it's not a halal at all. and that's the Lashon that he quotes from the Or Zarua. That's not a howlet on. That's why it's Zeichen Su also Sif Mem Zayin to tell you that I need to read that Sif Mem Ches is built on Sif Mem Zayin. Without Sif Mem Zayin, I don't. Since there are shittas in the Rishonim and Rav Hagodah that says that it's
just shira, not really.
What?
It's just a shira.
Just a shira, not how a shira ala kois. So that according to that, I don't need any reason. So we can say it's only shira ala kois. Now let's go. It still remains. Why does it say Tzur? The question: why does it say Tzur dafka to the Orzur? Why does it say Tzur dafka to Orzur?
Also, the fact that he's starting with Tzemach Goyen, it means that he's not holding like the Ramban. Saying the Ramban says that even with the Efsek, you still.
No, that's okay. That's a separate machlokas.
Right.
That's a separate machlokas. It's not negated to what we say. Okay, let's take a look at the Lashon of the Orzur that the Rebbe is quoted. Here's the whole Lashon. Now, Kriyas HaHal should Leil Pesach, Pirshu HaGoinim, and Kriyas HaHal of Leil Pesach. The Goinim explains, She'em Evorchen Lo B'Tchilasei, that we don't make a bracha, the Fisha Mafsikin Boiv Eichus Udosei, Ve'ein Ele Kakir B'Alm. So we hear in the Orzur at the beginning of Sif Mem Gimel, he also makes a taruvas. But no, it's the whole diuk of the Brisker Rov. The whole diuk of the Brisker Rov was that the Ran seems to put both shittas together. That the Mordechai seems to put both shittas together. That's the diuk. So therefore he wants to say that Mafsikin is only a siman and not a siva. Let's take a look at the Orzur. Well, how's it written in the Orzur? Al Kriyas HaHal Shavlei Pesach, Pirsha Goinim, She'em Evorchen Elov, with philosophy, Shemafsikin Boy, Veichus Udosei, Ve'ein Ele Kakir B'Alm. So also put both shittas. According to the Brisker Rov, that's very nice. But how is the Mamshich? The Mamshich of Semach going Pirish, the fish of Seeking by the Suda, Rav Hai going Pirish, ain't Elakakoy. That's the Lashon that the Rebbe called. So over here, you have the Duke of the Brisker Rov in the beginning, but how does he finish it off? That it's two shittas. He finishes off. And Rav Semach going says this reason, and Rav Hai going says this reason. So what's the pshat in the Orzur? So the pshat in the Orzur is that the Chatchila is only talking about the halacha l'maisa. Halacha l'maisa ain't kavin, ain't mevorchin al hal b'leil Pesach. They don't make a bracha on the hal b'leil Pesach. And in the halacha l'maisa, both Rav Semach Goyin and Rav Hai Goyin, they both agree. And that's why he's ma'ariv the two reasons, even though it's two separate reasons. And then he fears us that this is not the pshat that it's one sheet, one reason. It's two separate reasons. And that's why he separates as Semach Goyin and Rav Hai Goyin. So according to this, the whole diuk that the Brisker Rov falls off. Because maybe that what the Ran and the Mordechai are the bushitas is because they're only talking about the halacha l'maisa that we don't make a bracha. And the halacha l'maisa that if you don't make a bracha, they both agree. Even though that in the reasons it's talking two separate reasons. That according to Rav Semach Goyin, it is a kriyas halal, except mafsikin boy, and that's why we don't make a bracha. And it's negated to other halachas. Do we have to stand? Don't we have to stand? It's like sif mem ches. And according to Rav Hai Goyin, it's not a kriyas halal. It's only a shir ala kois. That's all it is. It's only a shir ala kois. That's all it is.
Can you say
so we can say the same thing in the Ran. In the Ran, we can also say that's why. But when we asked in the beginning, why does the Rebbe, since all the Rishonim in the Sechus Pesachim in this sugi of Amiris Halal, write these things? So why did the Rebbe kriach dafke to a Orzur verworfen in my mock? Why couldn't he just bring from the Rishonim in Pesachim? Because dafke in the Orzur, you have this deal that it's two separate sheets. If you take it to the Rishonim in the Lashon Pesachim, it looks like it's one sheet, and it looks like so it comes out that the Rebbe is beferish learning not like the Brisker Rov. Mafsid ba'alma is not a slimmer that it's a halbater shira. Now, in the Rishonim itself, I just want to add this. Maybe you could add why does the Mordechai write Ein El Kekoyer B'Alma, and the Orizur writes the Lashon Ein El Kekoyer B'Teru. Why did Taka? What stressed him? What was bothering him? Ein El Kekoyer Shir, because it is a Shir. Okay, the Ritva in Sukkot calls it the Zemer, which is B'chal not Shaykh on in the Ritva in Sukkot it's Muchach like this word. The Brisker himself brings that Rabbeinu Yoina brings from Rabbeinu Tam in the beginning of the second paragraph of Prophets, that even when you say Halal B'Torah Shir, you have to make a bracha. Halal B'Torah Shir is also a Halal. Not only Halal B'Torah Kriya is a Halal. So since over here, it could be that the Mordechai and the Zerua and the other Rishonim, the Ritva, that they learn like the Rabbeinu Tam, the Rabbeinu Yoina brings, that even when I say Halal only B'Torah Shira, I have to make a bracha. And even if I'm not going to say the whole Halal, I have to make a bracha. So according to this, that even Halal B'Torah Shira, I have to make a bracha, even if I'm not saying the whole Halal. Then the whole reason of Mafsikin falls. Who cares if Mafsikin? It's Halal B'Torah Shira. So that's why you have to stress it's a din shir ala kois that we picked after these capitals to say shir ala kois, but there's no din of amiras halal b'leil say. Basic Knesset, there's a din of amiras halal, but by the say, especially according to our minhag that we say halal basic Knesset, so for sure there's no din of amiras halal by that because we already gated amiras halal. So why are we saying this halal by the Hagodah? So that's like it's the din of shir ala kois, because the whole amiras Hagodah is only secret dvorim, and the shira is after the halal. That's why we're saying the halal. So could be that's why what the Mordechai and the Ezra want to stress and Dafka use this lashon kekoyer b'alma. Oh, it's a Sefer HaManik. I don't have to Sefer HaManik. In the Sefer HaManik, he writes also. In the Sefer HaManik, he writes clearly that the only reason why we're saying I'm not making a bracha on this halal, because the only reason why we're saying halal is because the Hagodah is secret dvorim. It's in the Sefer HaManik. And so therefore we want to say a shir ala kois because ain't any shir ala yayin. So therefore we're saying the halal. The Manik which is muchach also in the Ritva, the same Nakuda. So comes out that over here, basically, we have a few sheet. One sheet is, you can make a bracha, sheet of the Ramban. And if you could make a bracha, the sheet of the Ramban, so it wouldn't make a difference whether it's how, according to Rabbeinu Tam, wouldn't make a difference whether it's how material is kriya or how material is shiva. Then we have another sheet that, because of mafsikin, so that's why you can't make a bracha, the sheet of semach kohen. Then you have the sheet that, no, it's not halal at all. It's only a shir ala kois. That's all it is. Okay, you have the Brisker law, but the Alter Rebbe clearly is arguing with the Brisker law. The Rebbe is clearly arguing with the Brisker law. And according to the way the Oris Zerua that the Rebbe is quoting, the whole diuk of the Brisker law also falls away.
So the reason the Rebbe brings the Rebbe going, there is no reason to bring him, because based on Rebbe Tzemach Cohen, we already know why we don't say halal. Is it possible to be moitzi?
Why we don't say a broch?
Yeah, we don't say a broch. It's
right.
possible to be moitzi from the pshat of the Brisker. Is that the reason? That's the tzrichus of
it's Metzias. I mean, you can't ignore the Rebbe going. All the Rishonim bring a fight. All the Rishonim bring a fight. Okay, the Alter Rebbe passes like a Tzemach. The Alter Rebbe passes like a Tzemach, but there is the sheet. All the Rishonim bring a fight going. You can't ignore it. So the reason why we don't make a bracha, there is this sheet of Rav Hagodah. You can't ignore it. The question is, you have in Rav Hagodah, you have now two pshat. Whether it's because halal and tereshir you don't say a bracha, and the Rishonim the Ritzvah that says it's only in a zever b'alma, and like it says in the Hilchos right Hagodah, because it's only said al shir ala kois, it's not said al halal at all. And the Metzias Advarim is, I mean, according to some shittas, maybe we have to say that it's a halal, because there is a halal basic knesset. According to our minhag. Okay, the Ashkenazim don't say the halal basic knesset. So the Didan, there is a chiyuv halal b'leil Pesach. That's why we say the basic knesset. Shnei leilas. In the Ma'aseh, since the shnei leilas are not counted in the Yud Ches Yovim, okay, that's good. What comes to forever, because it's not a din of kriya, it's a din of shish. Okay, could be, but now you have that the sheet of Rabbi Tam that even on Halbatira Shira you say a bracha. If you're saying Halbatira Shira, according to the Bab, it doesn't make any difference. So according to that sheet, so why Taka don't make a bracha of Lil Pesach? Okay, if he said it already, basically, we said it already, basically, we yates it. But the whole thing becomes more moving. The Vitaka yates the Chiyuv Halal Vamir basically according to our minute. And the Halal over here at night is Taka only materials Shira ala Kois. And that's Taka what all the Rishonim say. And the deal that the Briskerov holds, that inside Iran, inside the Mordechai, Adirab, if you're dying in Lashon of the Mordechai, you can't say like that, because since he used the Lashon to Koyer Ba'alma, how can you call Halal material Shira Koyer Ba'alma? How can you call it? It's not a Koyer Ba'alma. And you have the Shenis of all the Rishonim. So the Achroy is so it's like this. So by Dal Koid now, according to this, becomes even clearer why it's able to sue the COVID before the Rekeach. According to the Rekeach, Dal Koid says it's just like Halal, and that will be totally in the Machlek. The Ramban will argue on that. So it's able to sue the COVID. You know, there's a separate reason over here that even the Ramban will agree with that. Okay, that's the terms I've learned.
No. In regards to the mitzvah of Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim, the Rebbe also brings in the we don't say a bracha on the Hagodah. One of the reasons is because we're mafsik.
Oh, forget, right. So forget. By Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim, I wanted to mention. By Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim, when the Rebbe speaks why we don't make a bracha, so he brings a whole bunch of reasons why we don't make a bracha. The fourth reason he brings from the Shevach Pesach, the fifth reason he brings from the Shevach Pesach is because Shemafsikin by Bachil. The Mafsik over there Achil. So the Chura over here,
it's mashma like the Hagodah is continuing into Halal Nerza. No?
What?
The Pashto.
Yeah, the Hagodah is continuing. Okay, you can make a Gavaldige Chilik. Why over there he brings all the other reasons, this it brings only as the fourth, fifth reason. So there's two points over here. One point is you could be Mechalik in the Hagodah, that by the Hagodah, as far as Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim is concerned, the holiday day is only a separate chiyuv. It's not the etzem mitzvah of Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim, except since we're Mesapers, we also are Mahalal. It's like a separate thing. So it's not really a hefsek in the mitzvah of Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim. And especially according to the days that I could be the first reason that he brings, I don't need the whole Avishas HaSipur. So it's not a hefsek at all. I was already yaitz the whole mitzvah. I have the whole mitzvah. It's not a hefsek in the middle. Right. It's not a hefsek at all. According to all the earlier shittas that we bring. What is the mitzvah of laying this up? So it brings the other shittas. So then there is no hefsek. It's only if I say the column, and it says column that the halal shvach for the etzem Yetzias Mitzrayim is also a chelik of the chiyuv of Sipur Yetzias Mitzrayim. That's when I have to come out. That's when I can say the word of hefsek. But even according to that sheet, that word of hefsek is not the same like dal kois, because over here it's not the pshat. By dal kois, we're talking the hefts of the mitzvahs. Over here, it's not the heft of the mitzvah. It's not mechulik. The Mordechai brings. The Mordechai brings that his man is making sure he used to eat the meal before the Hagodah. He used to be Mekayim afterwards, and that's even though the Rebbe Seichel that the Rambam argues. So it's not that mitzvah the heft or the mitzvah they have to eat the suda in the middle. Even when the Rambam argues, the question is only how is that another poil? You don't have to say that there's another machlokes over here besides that another poil. What the heft of the mitzvah is, whether the heft of the mitzvah demands that it should be the suda. I mean, you could say a swear maybe because The Suda is also mitzad chelik, mitzad derech chelik, but it's not muchach mitzad the etzem sipur yitzias mitzrayim. He the Suda now. So the tam of mufsakin is not shaykh at all by that by sipur yitzias mitzrayim. So that tam that he says mufsakin will only work according if I can say it's mufsakin. If I say that I need the whole Anichas HaSipur, and I say that Haggadah and Hagodah is also a chelik of the mitzvah of Sipur Yitzias Mitzrayim, we did the Hagodah, Birchas Hashem. It's all a chelik of the mitzvah of Sipur Yitzias Mitzrayim that part of Sipur is not only to tell. So then I can say the Tam of Musaf. But even if I say that, then it's not the Kolbud, it's only the Rekeach. Because it's only the Gavre of Nafsik. But not that the mitzvah is not the Chef Tzasa, and Dugmud is like the Mordechai that we brought. So that's the chiluk between the two things. All right.